Hi, and welcome back to another video. And I know this usually isn't like covering an election or, an election update or anything with politics. But as someone who watches polls as closely, oh, I'm sorry, as someone who watches polls as closely as I do, reading this yesterday, this really made me feel disappointed. However, I do understand her leaving, not losing, leaving. But anyways, Ann Selver has announced the end of her election polling operation and will no longer be doing polls, which is really disappointing because usually every year we always can look out for the number one pollster in the country. However, that no longer will be the case as she is leaving the polling industry. Why? Because of her poll that got so wrong in the 2024 election. So you see Ann Selzer there. The Iowa political pollster released an eyebrows raising post for Election Day, said on Sunday that she would end her election polling operation. She is 68 years old. I didn't know she was that old. 68 years old, has long been a trusted voice in the polling industry, predicting the state's margins of the past presidential election with an accurately few rivaled. So, in her last poll for Election Day showed Vice President Kamala Harris leading former President Donald Trump in Iowa, it created a political shockwave. It was a surprising result, showing Ms. Harris leading by 3 percentage points, and observers noted it was an outlier, but many trusted Ms. Selzer's expertise and her track record. Nearly every other poll in Iowa showed Mr. Trump leading the state by a healthy margin, and in 2020, Mr. Trump won every state by 8 points. By the time ballots were counted early this month, Mr. Trump led Ms. Harris by more than 13 points en route to his overall victory. Ms. Seltzer sent a comment in the Des Moines Register that she decided over a year ago that this would be the last election she polled. So yeah, obviously Ann Selzer got it very wrong, as I was really expecting a very close race coming into election night, and that's not what happened. Donald Trump swept all the swing states, and Kamala Harris performed an election map that was even worse than Hillary Clinton's election performance. So, yeah, Ann Selzer is leaving the polling industry, and usually her polls are spot on. So if we go to the presidential polls for Iowa this year, let me find Iowa here. Here we go. For Iowa this year, you could really see, where is it? We had a couple that was flood in with Republican polls, but here it is. Iowa, Des Moines Register, Harris +3. She had Harris up by 3 points. I covered this poll when it dropped about, I believe it was a month ago now, or over a month ago. And then you really had all these Republican pollsters just putting it in with all of these Republican sponsored polls. However, these polls weren't even accurate. Not even these polls were accurate. Why? Because Donald Trump won Iowa by 13 points against Kamala Harris. Sure, Ann Selzer got it wrong, but so did these other pollsters. And I really do believe that not only Ann Selzer should be taking the heat. However, it is quite expected for her, as she is the most accurate pollster in the country. And when you are the most accurate pollster in the country, you get a lot of eyes, you get a lot of eyeballs, and a lot of stuff are expected from you. And the fact that she got this wrong must be so disappointing for her, and it really is probably embarrassing. So now she is separating herself and probably moving on, maybe doing something by herself, maybe starting a podcast, a show, or something like that. I hope it'll be exciting to see what she does in the future. I don't really think I'll make another video on it, but I just thought, it'd be nice to make a video on it. We can even see from the other years in 2020, she actually did get 2020 accurate, which is why I was being so reliable on her, and it's why I believe that she would win. Now, Joe Biden was way, way, way overperforming in these polls. Donald Trump was underestimated in the 2020 election polls. However, Donald Trump still did lose the 2020 election, but Joe Biden, the polls were showing a Joe Biden numbers that would have like swept the map, would be like an FDR election landslide, and it's just not what happened at all. However, Ann Selzer was able to accurately predict or drop a poll on the Iowa state in 2020. Look, she had Trump up by 7 points. Now, throughout the 2020 election, Democrats were really happy with the polls Joe Biden was performing. The COVID was looking bad for Trump. And then when Ann Selzer dropped this Trump plus in 7 poll, all the Democrats got worried. They all got worried. They said, "Oh God, could Trump pull this off? This is a 7-point win." However, yes, Joe Biden was still able to win, but Ann Selzer was still able to accurately call this race. If we go, Trump won Iowa by 8 points, sure. And Selzer was just 1 point off. Trump got it by just 1 point more to the right. Trump still lost the election to Joe Biden, but she still was accurately able to call Iowa in 2020. So when it came around this time around, for her poll in 2024, people like me and several other people across the country were very excited to see what this poll was going to say. And when I saw the Harris plus 3 poll, I originally thought it said Donald Trump plus 3. And I remember saying to myself, anything below, and I'm pretty sure I said this in one of my past videos, anything below 5 points for Donald Trump in that Iowa poll would be bad news for him. Harris plus 3 is a disaster, especially if it was accurate. Now, this poll, I did have doubts, but the reason why I wasn't completely skeptical is because it was Ann Selzer, the most accurate pollster in the country. So I looked at the poll and I said, if this poll is accurate, we're looking at a Kamala Harris landslide. And then we went to election night, and that's not what happened at all. Now, I was not predicting a Kamala Harris landslide. You guys know that my prediction had Georgia and Arizona going to Trump, and that is what happened. However, I did predict Kamala Harris to take the blue wall, which is not what happened. I also predicted Kamala Harris to win Nevada, which is not what happened. So we really need to be realistic about these things. And I think many people, including myself, weren't really being realistic about this Iowa poll. That Kamala Harris could possibly win, Iowa, which I really can't see happening with all the Republican conservative farmers that live in Iowa and the states around it. And if the entire country shifted the way Iowa could have shifted in that poll, I think it was like 11 points to the left, Florida would be winnable. North Carolina would be winnable. Ohio, probably Texas, since Biden lost it by only 5 points. Let's see. 5 points. Biden only won it. Florida was only 3 points. It'd all be. All those would be all. It would be a Kamala Harris landslide. It really would have been. But I don't think me and other people are being that realistic. And looking back on it, I think I'm going to try and be more realistic when really shocking polls out like that come out. And I'm really going to try and look at it as a unbiased standpoint. So going into this, it is really disappointing and upsetting. Well, not upsetting, but disappointing that Ann Selzer is leaving. I will miss seeing all her polls, as I did post on my Blue Sky. But yeah, I'm going to be able to miss her. I'm sure other people will be missing her. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today. So if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe down below, and follow my Blue Sky at Vote Breakdown, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.